So everyone doing? Good evening.
Good.
All right, bye bye.
The space is.
Good. How about you?
You been in high school for the long time.
I tried saying hi to you at the council meeting the other day. You didn't even look at it.
Oh.
You know what? There was so much going on.
Now you don't
I
know
was with my hand, I didn't like, hey, what are you doing? You go right by me. I was like,
I'm so
I
sorry.
was like, all right, what's the matter?
Nah,
you.
thank you. How you doing, right?
Pretty good. How you doing? Thank you. You wanna sit over there?
Sure.
Oh, no, nobody should be. Two right ones on the take section.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
I gotta get. Oh, okay.
You gonna check?
Good.
Yeah, you bet. I'll take that and say.
Appreciate
Burn up when you.
Yes.
I know what right.
People.
Oh, I hit the rec center, kind of how the rec center. Yeah. I hit the rec center.
Over there.
Well, you know, I've got a birthday coming up on 400.
Yeah, I think mine's.
Yeah, well, and I talk about it because, well, hey, my days are.
That's
Well, I mean, it's inevitable. Okay.
They're always at the meeting.
You're right.
Right. We're in the morning, it's not gonna go in.
No, I just, look, I want to exercise, okay, so, well, what do you want? Water, yeah. Okay. Well, so you have to stand up, so, I can't hear you. You gotta write it down for me, you know that.
Oh, you was on that. Oh,
I don't get
sorry.
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay, okay.
No, I'm going with my health flow.
It is, a lot of discussion happening. Oh, okay. Oh, well, that's the deadline.
Okay.
Okay.
That looks like the last donut. I don't want that.
You taking my? What they said about the last time? That she said, that's great for that. Oh, okay.
It looked like it's one donut, and then it looked like, yeah, it was the last donut, somebody just said, here, let's take it. Oh, okay. I do.
Oh, there, no, she went to the car, get a paper, she,
Oh, I think you're speaking on it. Can you pass those out?
Yes.
I'm about to get touched, so.
Thank you so much. We have choice of cold water or hot water.
Yeah, there's something on my phone.
Makes more sense. Miss Ford. You didn't even tell me I was in college. Yeah. What that was. Well, I didn't do that. I feel like I know you're gonna go. I didn't know where to go. And I didn't tell you, let's go.
It's the only one I'm thinking of, oh, well, he's got, I think nobody with him. So it might have been the only one up there.
There's a pink one here.
Oh, so it was, okay, I didn't see.
You know, you can't fix my voice. You know, you can fix some of those. Right. They were up. They were past time. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Up here.
Yeah.
Okay, we got.
Are you gonna be my bodyguard?
She goes to sleep. It wasn't a whole thing, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear about that. Yeah, then I stopped happening. Yeah. Monroe. Come up here and talk on.
All right, well, I appreciate everyone coming tonight. I want to be mindful, I know the block club meeting's gonna follow immediately after this. So we got a few things that I think are important that I want to go over tonight. Kind of our first meeting back together, so I'm excited to have everyone here, see everyone. The first thing I want to go over is suspect identification. I had a conversation with Councilwoman Martin, and we were talking about some things going on, and one of the things she said that a lot of people don't identify a suspect properly. And there's a lot of truth to that. So I thought it was a good idea to kind of give you a brief outline, something that you can think about while nothing serious is going on. That way, in the event you see something, you'll know some of the things that we're looking for to identify a suspect. And a lot of times people give us a real basic description, you know, it's wearing all black and, took off running. Unfortunately, that leaves it open to a lot of people. So it's hard to narrow suspects down with that brief description. A lot of times people, when they're planning on doing something, engaging in criminal activity, they'll wear multiple sets of clothes. That way, in the event they have to run or try and get away, they can strip off outer layers of clothes and they'll have a different change of clothes underneath. So if you did provide a description, it's not accurate. So we need to look for more permanent things. We need to look for, specific headgear. What if someone's wearing a hat, what the hat might say. Even with clothing, a lot of times people have insignias or different things on. If we try and remember those things, it'll help us narrow it down when we're responding. If we pass, let's say we pass an individual on our way to responding, we'll be able to identify them if they're running. Skin tone's important. Scars are very important because that's not something you could easily get rid of. So if someone has a facial scar or hand scar or something that you notice, it's good to take note of that when reporting that incident to the police. It talks about brand names on this list that, if it was a Nike outfit, if it was an Under Armour, or, if there was some other brand. All those things help. Another big one that's important are tattoos. A lot of times people have specific tattoos. Sometimes, they really stand out. And, some people get facial tattoos or big, arm sleeves and things like that. All those things play a role in helping us identify someone, and they're permanent identifiers that people can't easily cover up or remove in the event that we make contact with. Certainly, be mindful if they're wearing gloves and things like that, because that plays a role in how we tech scenes. If we think they have fingerprints, DNA, or other specific things. Jewelry is another one. most people will not peel off their jewelry and throw it down in the event of them running. So if they have like a diamond ear piercing or, expensive ring or bracelet or a necklace. Those are all good things to be mindful of when you see someone, because most people, like I said, are not gonna throw those items away. You guys can move chairs around if you need to now. Facial hair is another one. My guy in the back, he's got a big beard. That's something to be, to be mindful of. You can't shave your beard while you're running. So you could say, hey, if he had a large beard or he had, a trim beard or goatee or something along those lines. Those are all good identifying factors. It's not the only thing we use, but it certainly points us in the right direction if we were to identify someone. Weapons, was it a knife? Was it a, switchblade? Was it, a pistol? If it was, what color was the pistol? What color were the grips? All of these things. If it was a revolver or semi-auto, if you know the difference, all of those things play a role. So, shoes are another one. A lot of people don't have time to change their shoes. So, a lot of people are wearing expensive designer shoes. They're not gonna dump those off running. So be mindful of shoes. So all of this, I say all of this to say that oftentimes we get descriptions of suspects and they're very, very brief and they don't give us a lot to go on. So if we can do a better job of identifying suspects, without putting yourself in danger, this is something that I expect you're gonna do from a distance, or whatever you see. I don't want anyone approaching anybody and jeopardizing your safety. But anything that you can come up with helps, especially with transportation, mode of transportation. If people are, in a specific type of car, if it's a truck or a car, color, if you can get a plate, great. I don't want you to go out of your way to get a plate. But certainly if it's something that's accessible, get the plate. That'll help us as well. So, any questions on any of that? All pretty straightforward. So what I passed out a primer. And I don't know if you had an opportunity to read that. But what we're experiencing, we have some video, we're gonna post it on our website. We're gonna share it here tonight, but we're just gonna put it on our website for everyone to see. We've got some suspicious activity going on in the north end of the city. We've had some people get caught on ring cameras late in the night or, early evening hours, past normal business hours. And they're alleging that they're out selling alarm systems and knocking on doors. They could very well be a legitimate company. I highly doubt it, but they could. Be very mindful when you open your door for people. A lot of times people will knock on your door. They hope that you open it, and then at that point you become a soft target. So be mindful of opening your door. If you feel like something's just not right, don't hesitate to call us. We can always show up and identify someone. Like I said, if they're not up to anything, criminal, then they'll be on their way. But at least we can identify them and we can kind of put your mind in. And if they are up to something, then we're already coming, and there's a good probability that we're gonna catch them. So, these individuals, early morning, very early morning and late at night, they're showing up at different houses claiming that they're selling alarms. Some of their movements and activity is suspicious to us. That leads us to believe they're not a legitimate company. So, in the event someone knocks on your door and says, hey, we're out there selling an alarm system, do us a favor and just give us a call. It'll help us identify them and we can find out at least who they are and what they're up to and let them know that, their actions are unacceptable. And, plus they're supposed to have permitting and things like that in the city before they're going door to door. So, at the very least, we can advise them. There's another thing I wanna talk about. Gabriel Apartments. Gabriel Apartments, we've been experiencing a lot of problems with the youth home. We believe that there's a lot of gang activity going on over there. This is serious because these individuals are carrying guns. They are shooting indiscriminately, which means we could have an innocent victim who's going to be struck. And you know, they're shooting into locations. We are doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes to identify these individuals and move forward. We are also working with another agency that, yeah, so they're, okay. So they're gonna make it, we've invited an agency called East Letter tonight. And not to steal all the thunder, but we're trying anything within our, within our grasp to put an end to it. And so for those of you who are not familiar with ceasefire, and I'm not gonna get into it a lot because I invited them as a guest and explain who they are, but what they do is they go into communities and they make contact with these individuals, these gang members and members of the community. And they try to mediate differences and they try to bring people away from gangs and away from violence and give off alternatives to dealing with problems and giving them resources to get out of gangs if they feel it's a last resort. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, why would you bring that organization in? They don't really work hand in hand with the police, but we partner. And part of it is, quite frankly, a lot of gang members or kids, they don't want to talk to us. So we have to find another alternative, someone that they would look at as a mentor, someone that they could talk to and explain what's going on in their life, or maybe it's a financial reasons that they're joining these gangs. Now, is everyone going to be salvageable? No. There's some people who we cannot salvage. They've already killed someone. They've already done some things that are inexcusable and something we can't forget. Those people that we can't salvage, we have to work on identifying them and unfortunately taking them off the street. The ones we can salvage, that's what they're here to talk about. The ones we can salvage, the young brothers or sisters that are looking up to a gang member and they're thinking that this is their only opportunity to get out of whatever situation they're in, or they're looking at someone for protection or for financial resources, things like that. There's a million reasons why. Those are the people we're trying to sell. We're trying to tell them, hey, there's other alternatives on it. There's other things you can do with your life. And these guys are going to be a phenomenal asset to us, I believe. And they have a lot of things planned. They have a lot of things planned for the community that I'm really excited about because the police department, I tell you guys all the time, we can't do it alone. And we need buy-in from the and we need the community to say, hey, we're not going to tolerate this stuff in our city. And anytime you see something that you feel is out of line, or you feel that potentially has a problem to escalate into violence, you need to call us. You need to be called right away so we can respond and put an end to it. If someone gets hurt or something gets too far out of hand. So that's the reason, I'm really excited about partnering with Spire. Like I said, I don't want to take all their thunder, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details. I'm going to let them explain what they do. But the reason we feel that it's necessary now is obviously it's getting warm, and these members of young men and teenagers are escalating things to a point of significant violence. And I suspect if there's not an intervention soon, that someone will wind up dead. And I don't want to go to anyone, who's been killed, but I certainly don't want to go to a kid or a teenager, a young man who's just starting their life. I don't want to go to an event or, you know, a scene where that happened. So, you know, I know a lot of you got family or, you know, you've got direct connections to the Gabriels and, you know, you guys are involved. You can spread the word to the others who don't come to these meetings. That we need buy-in from everybody. We need people to report suspicious activity. The ways of, you know, no one snitching and not getting involved and all this other nonsense is not working. It's not working. And if you don't want to live in that type of environment, then we need your help. And I know none of you here want to. And nor should you have to. You know, Highland Park, you know, we're working hard to make this place a place that you can go out with your family, enjoy it. I think there's been a lot of improvements in you know, in development here and things like that. In my personal opinion, I think Highland Park is definitely the place to be within the next few years. I think there's a ton of development that's gonna come our way. And I think a lot of it's gonna be contingent on public safety. And public safety is definitely contingent on buying from the community. And that's why it's, you know, that's the reason I do this every month. Because I think our partnership is what makes us strong. You'll see it in a million stories. You know, communities that are getting out of control. And the neighborhood takes the neighborhood back. I mean, it happens all the time. When the neighborhood gets fed up with it, crime doesn't have a chance. Because you guys have the power to run them out of the neighborhood. You really do. And with your help and us together, you know, crime doesn't stand a chance. So it's really important that you guys find it.
Chief, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Gabriel's, I'm trying to remember, that's part of low income housing.
So I think they have both.
They have both?
Yeah, I think they have both.
And are we working with the management team over there, to communicate that, to work with us and communicating it to its residents, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be a resident, but it's a friend, right? And if your son's friend might get you kicked out your house, then there's a way to look at that, a different way to look at it that way.
Yeah, no, 100%. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. We're exploring every option possible. And certainly getting with management, you know, management for some are working on evictions, for some who just refuse to comply. And others, you know, the idea is, you know, comply or get out. So yeah, we're certainly working with management. And that's something again that Ceasefire does as well, is they'll work with management to identify you know, people who may be subjected to gangs that may want to, you know, engage in this activity. And they help identify and they work with management and you know, they offer resources. And I think that's the biggest thing. It kind of goes back to our mental health problems that we have that we've had for forever, not just us, every community. Without resources, you can't stop. And you know, so we run into that problem a lot. If you don't have the resources, we can't you know, we can't stop what's taking place. And so I think, you know, they bring resources to the table, just like our partnership with you know, EWIN has brought resources to our you know, mental health issues that we're having. So, you know, we're very fortunate to be a part of these organizations to provide us with some resources that we can use to help with an end to this. Because they're running late, my transition here is a little off, but there is something that I do want to talk about. And so it's no secret, obviously, you know, we had an incident that involved a member of council on a traffic stop. And we are receiving a lot of criticism for providing video of that incident. And Some people believe that we maliciously provided that video to degrade someone or embarrass them. And that could not be further from the truth. I would never do that to anyone. One, to provide video and reports is actually something we're obligated to do by law under the FOIA program. And if we don't, the city can be sanctioned. And some of those fees can result in the fees in $2,500. Now, some people criticize the time frame because we released it relatively quickly, and that may not always be the case. The reason that video was released so quickly was we received a ton of criticism after that stop that we would show favoritism to this individual because of his political position in the city, and that we would not treat him the same as we would treat all citizens. And to me, that's where it became a problem. Because I'm asking you to trust our police department. I'm asking you to buy into what we're selling. And I'm asking you, or telling you that we're going to be transparent. But then yet, you guys are under, you'll see feedback on social media and stuff that he's gonna get off because of who he is or whatnot. And the message needs to be clear that none of us are above the law. And, I know that's a statement that a lot of people make, but it's factual. We can't treat him any different than we would anyone else. So that's why it was important that the video was released. Ultimately, it would have been released regardless because we're obligated to them. So the timing, sure, the timing was relatively quickly. But again, it was never malicious intent. It certainly was to not erode the trust in the community. It's important that the community knows that, we're not showing favoritism to anybody. We're going to handle things the right way. And in the event that we're wrong, we'll accept responsibility for it. And we'll hopefully, it'll make us a better food system. So, I didn't really intend on getting into that, but I see so much on social media that, that really bashes the police department. And, I can take it. I don't really care. You can bash me all day long. It doesn't faze me. That's what I signed up for. I certainly don't want to do that. I want, you guys to understand that what I do is for the masses. But where I have a problem with it is when you bash the officer. The men and women who come here, they're on the streets responding to these gun runs. They're putting their life on the line, legitimately. And then someone just bashes it and say that what they've done was a setup. What they did was, malicious, and we're out to get somebody. There's not one person in this community that we're out to get. If you bring us to you, then you're going to get what you get. But we are not out looking specifically for anyone to harass or any of that stuff. So that's where I'm passionate about. These guys men and women work very hard with probably the least amount of resources than, a lot of departments in the state. And they do it with a smile on their face, most of them. I'm not saying every officer is perfect every time. I mean, hell, I'm not perfect every time I try to be, but I'm not. No one is. We will make mistakes, and we'll accept it. So, I want you guys to know that, some of the stuff you see on social media, a lot of it is not accurate. It's not an accurate depiction of the police department. And if anyone ever has a question about something we've done or something we've shared, or an approach that we took about something, you are more than welcome to come and have a conversation with me. And I will do my best to explain why we're doing something and show you the evidence. We don't act on hearsay. We don't act on rumors. anything we do, there's evidence to back it up. We're not out to do that. So that was me on my soapbox for a minute. I just want people to know that, I'm asking you to trust us. I'm asking you to partner with us. And I would not put you in a position to do that if we're out here doing something wrong. And we have many checks and balances here, when someone does something wrong, and like I said, we do make mistakes. We do our best to correct them. We have avenues to check this. We have, body cameras that are on constantly. We have mobile cameras that are on constantly. We've made it extremely easy for citizens to file complaints online, in person. We have these meetings where, I encourage you guys to tell me if something's bad, so we can work on fixing it. We have a lot of avenues we're trying to do to make this police department better. And, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time like anything else. But we are making changes here. I promise, really are. And I hope some of you see that. And for those of you who've had a bad experience, tell me about it, let us try and work on it. Anyone have anything? Yes, sir.
Chief, so, when the file first came out, first thing I was thinking, like, are they gonna hand this off to the state to investigate? Because I already see which direction it's heading in.
Mhm.
And sure enough, that's where we are. When do you actually consider asking the state, take over the investigation because of, problems that you may have heard due to it being this local issue that's already inflamed and a history with the individual?
Yeah, so a lot of times, a situation like this, we do reach out to the state police or the sheriff department, things like that. We say, hey, this is something you want to take over, take out of our hands. Sometimes they tell us yes, sometimes they tell us no. In this case, it was pretty much, I don't want to say it's an open and shut case, but I mean, the evidence is the evidence. And that's it. Now, I will say, because like I said, I do believe in transparency, and this is public information, so I don't mind sharing it. He did ultimately submit to a preliminary drug test, which showed that he was well below the legal limit. And we also have the results back, which confirm that he was below the legal. We just got those back. And I've shared that with them already.
The blood alcohol test?
Correct. Yeah, so. What I'm saying is things could have been handled much differently by just a little cooperation or a little communication. If hypothetically, if I smell alcohol in your breath and you've made some decisions in driving that I feel could be hazardous or maybe not, rational decisions, then I may suspect that you're drinking. So the whole reason for a preliminary drug test is to eliminate that as an option. And that way we can move forward and not waste our time, getting search warrants and things like that. But if someone doesn't, if someone doesn't want to engage in that, then there's a procedure that we have to follow. And ultimately, we did. And like I said, we didn't treat anybody differently. And the outcome's the outcome. There is no setup, there is no, we're trying to, put something on somebody or whatever. These results are conclusive. They're scientifically proven. So we're not, the results are in, and ultimately he was not intoxicated above the legal limit. So. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Chief, so how soon after he was arrested that those tests was taken, the blood tests? Was it hours later, 6 hours later, 8 hours later? And
Yeah,
how
it's approximately 3 hours.
3 hours, so does that change by the hour, the month?
Well, certainly. So it could change. It could actually go up. So if someone just recently drank a lot, let's say they consumed a ton of alcohol. And we initially give you a PBT, and the PBT may give a reading. However, when that alcohol absorbs into your blood system and you get to the hospital, it can be higher. Or in the event that you're on your way down, the result could be lower.
So my next, I think, I need clarity on how soon, how many days after the day he was arrested that you did the, follow-up, breathalyzer? Because you wasn't able to get it that night. So when did you get it? Next day,
No, so we did get it back.
that night?
Yeah, he ultimately, agreed with that night.
So you got a court order for the blood?
So we did have a court order at that time, but prior to that arriving, he ultimately submitted to preliminary grant. But at that point, we already have an order from a judge that says we have to do this. So it's
3
not,
hours.
we can't, well, it took that amount of time. Sometimes you get them in a half hour, sometimes, it takes 6 hours. But that's just how it works.
Thank you.
Yeah. But
Are you required to do toxicology screen for other substances?
no, only if we had suspicion to believe that there was
Like
something.
medications?
Yeah.
Like that.
But I can tell you, we. As a standard, we usually do. And. There was nothing. That. Rose to the level of coming out.
And the nation's elevated blood sugar.
No, he was, that was all, that was all.
My second question, Chief, thank you. So what bearing on everything says, the blood tests and the breathalyzer, is below level, so what happens next? What is,
Well, it's no different than anyone else who's charged with a crime. I mean, when the facts come in and the facts say you didn't do it, then you're not convicted of that crime. As it should be. Yeah, of course.
Question.
Yes.
So legally, he had an empty liquor bottle in the vehicle. Second, no license, no insurance. Well,
no place?
it, you don't arrest him for,
Well, certainly those are items, those are things that you can be arrested for. However, there's, there's misinformation. There's some outlets saying that, they're basically saying that this individual was drunk. Okay, and regardless of our differences or what we have going on, misinformation is misinformation. And without the facts, we can't say stuff. Because it's not fair to anyone. And so now that the facts are in, so that's the facts pertaining to drunk driving. That's the facts, to operating while intoxicated. Now, the other things are still pending on us, just like anything else, but.
So my question again is, the initial allegation, does that make the city liable?
Of course, not.
Excuse me?
Of course, not.
Okay, thank you.
Why would the city be liable for it?
I just asked.
Yeah, there's procedural things that need to be followed.
People need to understand the initial allegation that he was drunk. And then you have blood tests and the breathalyzer saying he wasn't. And so initially, before the public, the city was the police department accused him of doing something. And that's why I asked it, would that make the city liable?
No, so pretty much everything we do relies on probable cause.
Okay.
And probable cause is, basically the pendulum is a little higher than normal, you know what I mean? So it's more probable that what we believe is factual. Okay?
So
But
he
does it
can
mean
come
we're
back
on
and sue. He cannot come back and sue.
Well, anyone can sue for anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anyone can sue for anything. Yeah, I mean, certainly, they're. And just like anybody else can sue for anything. But. Procedurally. I believe that most things were handled appropriately. And so we should be fine in terms of that.
okay, off that subject. I have a situation.
Okay,
206 West Buena Vista.
Okay.
It's getting warm. Sunday, Easter, they were over there barbecuing. When I left out tonight, they were sitting on the porch. And we do have two new families that moved in on our block. They have young children that ride their bikes, they scooter, whatever. So you will be getting a call, or somebody will be getting a call from me every day that I see them sitting on the porch. This morning when I left to go to work at 10 minutes to 8, It was two of them coming out the house with a duffel bag, a pillow, and a blanket. So, and I know before they usually ride down my street quite a bit. So I will be calling. Cause it's always 2, 3, 4, 5 people sitting on that porch. And I just don't want that to start up. Yeah, to make it home.
Yeah,
You didn't say that.
I'm-
You didn't say that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, certainly, you know, you certainly, yeah, certainly, you know, give us a call. We can advise people that, you know, it's, you know, it's not something they can do if it's private property or city owned or things like that. So, you know, again, a lot of times we can have a conversation with them that resolves it. So if that's what it takes, you know, reach out to us and we'll make contact. All right, and that goes for obviously any neighborhood or industry that would need. Like I said, I want to be mindful of, obviously, I know a block club meeting's gonna follow this in meetings, but I did invite some guests here today from Ceasefire, and I'd like to ask them to come up and kind of talk about their program. I told a little bit because I was so excited about you coming here.
Oh, man.
I did say, I did talk a little bit about you guys come here.
I know I was talking cheap, but good afternoon to you.
Good evening.
As you said, we're from Ceasefire. I'm George Ward. I'm outreach coordinator. Ceasefire Detroit. That's Corey Harris and that's Chantel Holston over there. We work directly, well, we're really citywide to the city, but we have a specific emphasis in the 11th precinct. And with number 11, touching a piece of Highland Park, is why we're here. We got a call from the chief. Well, actually, I got a call from my guy, Roll. I guess you've been calling me and saying, let's get together for the last year or so. But now we made our way here. And we want to make sure what we do is really try to stop as much as we can the gun and the gang violence within the city. And obviously, Highland Park is part of the city. So whatever we need to do, we understand the situation over at the apartments right on Manchester. So we're gonna do some things over there. The middle school is over there. We're gonna try to do some preventive things before the summer gets here to try to get some information out to the young people to try to get their mind set on having as much a safe summer as we can. And so if there's any block club meetings or anything that we need to come to, we will be there. We also, I guess during our endeavors, the reason I was late today, there was a shooting over on West 7 Mile. I'm sure you know, shooting around, 16-year-old shot. So we also come to scenes as well. So as you know, whenever there's a shooting, it can get kind of antsy a little bit with the families and people maybe trying to retaliate or whatever. So we come out to try to make sure that the situation is calm so they can do their job. But not only that, we make sure that we give an alternative. It's easy to say, put the guns down. Well, what kind of alternative are you giving? So what we do, we provide every resource, and I mean this in a literal sense, other than giving somebody a car in the house. We have every resource available. So we assist young men and women with jobs, job training, driver's license assistance. If they have any issues with their driver's license, and we understand and people don't even realize the barrier that not having a driver's license, what that does. Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Do you have any brochures, anything, so?
You know what I do? I'm rushing in. I'm glad you said that too.
All right.
So we got some flyers and brochures with our direct hotline number on it, and we're gonna provide those to you. So, as the old commercial used to say, no job's too big, no job's too small.
Right.
Regardless of what is needed, we can provide it. And our team is composed of, I think it's probably about 13 to 14 of us. I don't know the exact number. But we have a ton of experience working. These two guys are coaches as well. And they have been working with young people forever for free. And so what we try to do is help these young people realize that, not to be cliche or any of that, but if we don't protect our women, our children, and our elderly, what the heck are we doing anyway, right? And so we just want to make sure that not only you have a safe spring and summer, but you can live comfortably as you're supposed to, and not have to worry about what you just talked about.
Thank you so much for what you guys do. I think it's great. So my question is, how long has your organization been working and how do you measure success?
Well, that's a great question. We've been in existence for, I guess, I've been a part of CSR for about 9 years, okay? And the measuring of success, as I tell people all the time, you can't measure prevention.
There you go.
You can't measure prevention. But statistically, which we're good at, we can look at number 11 specifically right now. This time last year, the numbers were, I mean, it's incredible. When you look at the numbers from April 23rd, 2024, and look at them 2025, you wouldn't believe what 365 days have done. You know, it's obvious. We're boots on the ground. We're not sitting around. We are literally 24 hours a day. And whatever is needed, we try to make sure that we can provide. So when we talk about prevention, so when we go to the middle schools, probably next week sometime, because we want to hit before spring fever really gets going, right? What we try to do is those very young people that are probably graduating into the real violence, we try to stop them right there. We try to alter their mind. If they need summer jobs, we provide them with that. If the situation is, hey, that is just not working. You know, once we tap into a family, if we tap into one person, the family is ours, right? So whatever that young person is needing, whatever that family is needing, we try to get to the core of it and make sure that we can provide the assistance. So if mom and dad needs employment, that's no problem. We got hundreds of jobs and we've got a resource guy. We got 2 resource guys that specifically are there to assist people with work. So when people say there's no work out here, that's the biggest lie that they can take. It's the biggest lie that they can take. And a lot of our jobs, because we deal with returning citizens, we have so many felony-friendly jobs, it's unbelievable. So there's no excuse. And, you know, we kind of, initially, we specialized in helping those that are returning. And it just kind of ballooned into just trying to help everybody. But when young men and women come home, if they, obviously, they need their starter kit, so to speak, we have no problem making sure they get their driver's license. We assist people every single day, and we've got a legal liaison. What's different with our group is nobody has that. Our resource people and our legal person, it's unbelievable what they do. We've had people that had $3,000, $4,000 worth of fees, fines, and tickets, and they end up having to pay $300-400 because of the relationships that we have with the courts. So the one thing I will tell you is, I think one of the greatest sins in the world is to withhold knowledge. But I think you have to be an even bigger fool not to take advantage of the resources that are available to you. So obviously for the chief to say, hey, coach, we need you guys to come in and speak to the community, it says a lot about him because he can just, you know, and he said before, we can't arrest our way out of the situation. Because the more people we arrest, guess what? We got to arrest more people. What we can do is get these people from the mindset of being hopeless and helpless and provide them with something. And we try to change the mindset early, and we'll be boots on the ground. You guys will see us. I know we have an event coming up, May what? 24? 24? I'm pretty good. You said it one time, but so May 24th, we'll be there. But what we will do is you guys will see us. We'll always be in our ceasefire gear. We're going to be at the middle schools sometime next week during dismissal time to try to help just provide information as parents are picking them up. We're going to hand out even more flyers and everything to them because we want them to call us because guess what? Our prayer is you have contact with us. That way you don't have to have contact with them, right? That's the biggest thing. And unfortunately, our relationship with, police personnel has always been great. And the community has said, it's kind of, we have an adversarial relationship with the police. And I beg to differ. It shouldn't be that way. If we're doing what we're supposed to do, then guess what? You won't have this big problem. So I think that we'll be here, and anything that you need from us, by all means, please feel free to call. I'm going to come in with our flyers. We have a hotline number, And the one thing that I will say, I'm gonna live, you got your car, Black? Yes. I got cars there, so we have a personal business card as well. So if there's anything that's pressing, and maybe it's some violence or something going on, feel free. You call. You know, we try to, like I said, we try to get in front of this ball and do everything that we can to make sure that, again, our families and our communities are safe. We'll do anything that we need. We've got guys on our team that have spent, we have at least over, and none of us have done it, but we've got guys on our team combined probably 110 years worth of incarceration. And they came home and they said, man, you know what? This is not what my mother, this is not what my grandmother and father intended for me to be doing. And they changed their lives around. And they're doing everything they can to make sure that these young people don't live the lives that they had to live because of some of the mistakes they made, some of the decisions that they made in the past. So anything that you need from us, we are here to help. Any questions or anything, any events coming up, block clubs, senior citizens homes, or anything that we need to come to so we can provide information, by all means, please don't hesitate to call, because that's what we're here for. Any questions?
Thank you for your service.
No, thanks. I was saying this too. The one thing that I hate, thank you. The one thing I will say, what I hate is, you know, anytime you come to these meetings, you know, I see people who, you know, resemble our aunts, our grandmothers, our mothers, right? And we got to get our young people involved, because we're gonna make a real dent in this. We got to get the young people involved. So, again, I'll come back with all the brochures that we need, all the pamphlets, by all means, everything's good. Yes, sir.
I don't know, are you hooked up with the Reginald Kennedy Foundation here in Highland Park?
Not at all, but I'm pretty aware of it.
They have a summer program.
Yes.
I want to get in touch. with
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
I'll talk to you.
And we're definitely gonna do that as well, because the Rich McKenzie camp has been in existence for ever. So we'll definitely do that as well.
All right, that's the same.
24th, yeah.
Yeah, I'll.
May 24th.
Yeah, we're gonna go over there, but again, you're gonna see us, anytime they call us, we're gonna be around to make sure that we can help in any way that we can.
All right, so is this the same program Saul Green was involved in?
No, that was, you know what, he started a ceasefire, but ours is a ceasefire Detroit.
Okay.
You know, I think they're still kind of doing some things, but we kind of ballooned into something because we have, you know, a clergy component to ours as well. That's really the foundation. The church in the city, they have a real big influence over us, and they really provide funding to help with anything that we need. When you have some of the houses that burn up or the house gets shot up and the families need to relocate, they call us. And we had to go out, and Bishop Darrell Harris, who was, you know, who manages over us, I report to him. The clergy come out and they put people up for a week, 2 weeks without costing the families anything. So we get off and I can feed them. We make sure that they put up somewhere safe, and we try to do everything that we can to help.
Are the statistics showing gun crimes up or down for the demographic we serve?
Oh,
Because we read about a lot of shootings involved in units.
Drastically. I think, yeah, it's 57% decrease. 57%. You know, and the funny thing about it, and, you know, the officers know that, you know, one of the big incidents was really kind of a family type situation that, you know, nothing we could have done. Y'all see this all the time. There's nothing we could have done about that. But yeah, we really have gone over these guys, you know, they're purging area guys, that left precinct was all of them. We can't go over there without them knowing the kids, knowing the families and everything. And our presence in that area, this is German troop homes and some of the project areas over there, Purge High School, obviously. Our presence over there, specifically these guys, has really made such a big difference for us that it's been incredible to see.
We have a hotline.
We're gonna bring those in, we're gonna make sure that you have the names. Again, our hotline number is 2-4. Somebody's gonna answer the phone, and then they'll break you everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
So, like I said, this is why I'm excited about this, because, you know, the answer is not the police coming in full force, disrupting the neighborhood or arresting everybody, because there are some people that are salvageable. And that's one of the things we talked about, you know, just like I said, some people are not salvageable. Some people were not as good with salvage because they've done some heinous crimes, okay? But there are some people that are on the fence. There's some people, you know, back and forth, and that's who we're hoping to get to. Sue, I also want to talk to the guys from C Spire. She's our director of our rec center.
Wow,
And
wow.
so I think
I miss Sue.
you guys will be a great asset for her as well, because a lot of our kids go to our rec center.
Oh, my goodness.
And you know, she's got a great relationship with them all, and she can
We've got about 6 coaches on our team. He's assistant coach at Persian High School, the head junior varsity coach at Persian. Ted's coaches, he also coaches with some reach program, obviously ACC. I'm the head basketball coach at King High School. My resource guy is the head varsity coach at Warren Fitzgerald, and one of our number 11 guys who's with us, Waddell Henry, is the head basketball coach, 2-time state champion over at Warren Lincoln High School. So anything that we can do, we're in it to win it. So thank you so much.
And that's, you know, that's like I said, we talk about resources. That's what it's all about. Who has the resources? You know, that's how we can solve this. I want to be, like I said, I want to be mindful of the block club. I know they got a meeting coming up. Monroe had a couple things he wanted to go over, and then we'll turn it over to the block club. And again, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I just got a few things. One thing that I really wanted to hit on is as we as the police department do work, sometimes that work comes to your neighborhoods. And in the past couple of weeks, we've executed many search warrants, some being with the city of Detroit. And one thing I want to point out is if we're on your block and there's a ton of police cars, please just, you know, give us a second to get things under control. When we are making entry into a house, everybody is very heightened as far as security. So I may know you for sure, but at that moment, you just somebody driving up. So, and it takes away from us because now we got to go deal with you, see who you are. Oh, I live across the street. Hang on, because safety is important. So if something happens, I would rather you be at the end of the block than to something to happen and you get hurt. So I just wanted to point that out because I personally had that, you know, happen where it's somebody that I ended up knowing, but at that moment, I don't know. And, you know, sometimes we're heightened, so we're more aggressive than we would normally be. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, the officers are conducting traffic enforcement. So you're out and you're doing something and you get stopped. You know, please be kind to them. And, you know, we talk about being kind to citizens as well, but please be kind to them. There was an officer that, and the person is not in the room, but there was an officer that she lit him up. And he was like, man, I can't believe she talked to me. And I said, that's just how she is, but she doesn't mean any harm. So please be kind to them because we have to enforce those traffic things, which traffic enforcement also plays a part into, you know, the crime reduction and those types of things. Lastly, the chief passed out a Chiefs Cooking for Kids flyer. And he gives me a lot of leeway to go out to different events and go to different areas and things of that nature. And there was a person that we teamed up with who's come here. For those of you who did the Narcan training last year, that was done by this organization, Youth Protection. And this year she's doing a fundraiser because she is funded by the state and DWIN, which is she's a sub provider for them. But you know, this stuff costs. It costs to put on events. So the chief and 18 other chiefs are involved in an event. A fundraiser is called Chiefs Cooking for Kids. We hope that you can either come or support the chief. He'll be there. Kebabs is his dish this year. So I just hope that you would be able to support us in whatever way you are able to. Coach talked about an event that we have on May 24th, which is the Saturday before Memorial Day. Again, the chief gives me a lot of leeway to do a lot of things, and with that, you have to go outside of the city limits to let people know that you are a new department, and we're not the same that we were 10, 15, even 5 years ago. I got a chance to spend a week in Lansing, with the Michigan State Police. It was pretty much an orientation for community engagement, things and resources that are available. And with that, I got a call afterwards and they said, hey, we want to come down to the city of Highland Park. We want you to put us in an area that has some problematic things with youth. We're gonna partner up, we're gonna bring basketball hoops, we're gonna bring everything. We just need you all to be there. So that's this event. I'll have the flyers out shortly because it's 2 agencies and the state police it's gotta go through layers. I'll probably tomorrow, I'll have it out, be able to push it. But that is an event that we're gonna do. We would love for you to stop by. It's going to be 12 to 3. Computer died. So it'll be 12 to 3 on that Saturday. And again, it's going to be on Manchester, between 2nd and 3rd. So we'll be out there, we'll play basketball, and one group, there's gonna be a raffle, so one, family will leave with a basketball hoop board to play with. So those are the type of events that we're doing to engage the community and not have always negative interactions, because sometimes we will have to have a negative interaction. But if we, for the most part, have positive interactions, those negative ones go over way more easy. So I thank you all for your support. I know a lot of you all call me. I try to get back to everybody, but I'm learning that I have to write stuff down and set reminders because I will forget. And I used to, make fun of people who forget stuff every week all the time. Now, I would forget. So I do have my desk phone tethered to my cell phone, so I'll try to, leave me a message, shoot me an email, I will respond to you, but I just, appreciate you and the support. Miss Renee, she's always, it's either I get a fist or so, I do support that, but, I just want you all to know that I am out doing community engagement things for the city and agencies outside of the city are recognizing the work. And again, I count that to the chief. He gives me a lot of leeway to do things that bring good results and good resources to the city. CIT is one of them. He pretty much said, hey, do what you need to do. And less than a year later, we have CIT officers on to every shift. We've seen reduction in mental health repeat calls. And what I mean by that is someone who's always at this house that's always having the same issues. We are seeing a decline on that. We still get mental health calls, but we're getting the people in crisis to the resources that they need. And that's, a D-Win thing. And there are other events and agencies that are coming to help us as well. So yeah, that's it for me.
All right.
Pardon?
Your name.
I'm sorry, Everett Monroe.
So is there a location for this?
It's on the flyer. It's gonna be.
Scan, you
Gotta scan it and it tell you.
Scan it and it'll tell you. It's at the,
Okay, so it's gonna be at the River Place. It's downtown. It's in their office building. So it's actually a pretty cool event. And the chiefs get to brag and say who's the best. And the sheriff has already said he's gonna beat us, but not if I have anything to do with it. Yes, be for me or the chief.
Oh, well, I just wanted to, I know I came in a little later, because there was a couple other meetings going on, but my name's Derek Hale. And I work with Commissioner Martha G. Scott, so you have our support from the Commissioner's office. If you need help or anything like that, please reach out to us. And I did bring some literature for you if you haven't received the newsletter from us or a citizen's guide to county government. I've had all the city council meetings and things of that nature, but if you need any assistance or anything like that, we're here to help out.
So I'm talking about resources. It's great. So-
I just wanna say, everybody come to this event and support the chief. This
Yeah,
event is
right.
awesome. Okay. You go there to get a rider ticket, don't stop at any other booth, go right to the chief. That's it. Then you can go taste that, but this is an awesome event, so even if you don't go, you know somebody who is, give them your dollar so they can help support the chief.
I'll pay you later, Sue. All right, I mean, I thought she stuck out, but this is Mayor McDonald. Oh, okay, so I didn't get a chance to interview you, but she's been very supportive of the police department as well. I credit a lot of our success to the support that I get from her. And, support as well as not being so involved. Sometimes people try to run the place and, she doesn't do
It's like no one.
So,
As long as they inform me of what's happening, I'm okay. I'm not running to no cities. Before you get started, before I leave, I do have to leave. I just wanted to, look at I'm looking around this room. And I'm counting the number of people here, which is 30 plus. And I have a coffee and conversation every month. Every month. And I've extended it to 5 in the evening so people will get off work and come. I got 2 people. I get 4 people in the morning. Afternoon, but people complain that nobody's giving out information. So please, when you see it, if you don't see it, if you have not signed up for the emails, this is important. If you have not signed up for the emails, the text messages, because people get on Facebook and say, well, nobody's telling us something. Everything we find out is on Facebook. No, we have had this text system and email system for a very long time. I need you to write this down. Write this down. If you have not signed up, I need you to contact Ms. L. Brown at Highland Park mi.gov and just send her an email saying, I'd like to sign up for the text message or email. And she'll take your email that you sent it from and put it in the database. And you can leave your phone number in the email. She'll put that in the database. Because we want to get out as much information as possible to everybody that can. And we're trying to get the emergency text. But most people know that it costs a lot of money. And so we're working to get that done. So please bear with us. But for right now, if you want to know anything, it comes straight to my phone. It goes to my email, whatever's going on. I know people were saying that they didn't get the boil water alert. Well, it came straight out of there. It came on the news. So we have to do a press release. Everything. So start watching your news. I know news is depressing. It really is. Start same way you watching a post on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all those things. Start watching your the news. Also, we have a Facebook page. You can get it there. It's the City of Highland Park. Go like it. Whatever comes up, he puts everything on there too. So that way, share it with your neighbors. And I only have one other thing. The northwest side. Guys, anybody that lives, that's you. Anybody that lives down on Florence, Geneva, Grove, the next one, Brighton, Eel, North,
Portage.
That's on the other side of the street. Also, it's on the other side of town.
Oh.
If you have not got together and formed your block club, can the Pastor Brenda stand up? Pastor Brenda took the initiative to form the North Point Block Club, and it's 4 blocks over on the northeast side, North Point here. That's North. You don't have to have just one block. You can go get 10 people out of those 5 blocks and just create your block club, because that's another way that you're getting information. And this meeting is for you, the block club meeting. And you have the one at your house. Plus, if you have not, if you're on here, Miss Gracie, you still don't have a Facebook page for your block club. And I'm dropping things. I got 12 of them on Facebook that I can drop all the information in for everybody to get. All you gotta do, I know you have a Facebook page. I can start it for you. And you just invite the people on there to sign up. Or go click on it, it's just that simple, and you'll get information. Moss, same thing. I don't know who's in charge of Moss anymore, but you don't have a block club. You have a block club, you just not on the page. It's easy for me to just make sure I'm trying to make sure everybody gets something. And even though you don't have one, I still send the information, but you all, same with you all need to sign up. Anybody who do not have one, create it, it's easy, just start a page, have your members that's on Facebook, like the page, and include me in. Just send me it, that's all you like to.
So what are you saying, that you have a Facebook page?
No, all you have to do is create a block club page for your block club. And then invite all of your neighbors in that block to go like the page. It could be called Easton 2 and 3 Block Club, whatever, create that. And then just send out a message to all your people, hey, we got a Facebook page, go like it, it's called Easton 2 3 Block Club. And I can show you, I'll talk, we'll get it together.
Well, we have that email.
Yeah, I know, but if I send you stuff, and then you have to get, that means you guys can forward it. If I just drop it in when I'm sending it to everybody, I can just send it all at one time.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay, I think.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Janet Spite White. I am.
They were gonna pass out.
Yeah, they got a flyer. I want one of these flyers.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off, though. That's okay. Thanks for telling me. Thank you.
It should be an extra. Oh, up there by Renee.
He ran out.
Thank you. Yeah, up there by Renee. Yeah, my.
Okay, thank you. You better bring it along. It's a red on my phone.
Turn around.
Okay, you go, you go.
Oh, yeah. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, but what that is.
We can get a newsletter.
And anybody looking for a letter from our commissioner, her assistant, chief of staff, passing out literature from Commissioner Martha Scott. He's standing up right now.
You haven't received your newsletter or?
Thank you.
Yeah, county government.
Let's get this started so we can keep it moving. Again, Janet Spike White, I'm part of the executive board. The other members are not available, so it's just me here tonight. And basically just want to get this started because it's springtime. And everyone, like the mayor was saying, does not have a block club, but you can tie into many different points throughout Holland Park and meet with other people or just